Now let's talk about João Gomes, shall we? Manchester United have been linked with him over the last week or so. Wolves are terrible at the moment, bottom of the Premier League, looking like they could get relegated. There may be an opportunity there in the summer to go and sign a player like this. He's not the flashiest name in the world. I'm just going to get that out there to start with. He's not the dream signing, I think. And maybe if you were picking your perfect two-man midfield for Manchester United in the 2026-2027 season, maybe he wouldn't feature in it. But I think what I like about this is that United are showing that they're continuing that savvy streak. I think United's transfer strategy over the last few years and the signings that they've made have turned out to be duds, a lot of them. But I think we're starting to see signs that is starting to improve with the players that were signed last summer and the players that maybe hit and miss last summer. But the players that were signed this summer definitely have made a big impact. And I think what United are looking to do this time, and in recent years, over what they were doing maybe 10 years ago or 9 years ago or something like that, is they're signing players who can benefit the team. They're not signing players based on profile or based on the quality that they have or the commercial viability that they have. This doesn't exactly scream glamour, but I think the midfield for me has been a big area of concern for United, especially over the last year, even dating back to the Ten Hag days, dating back to the Solskjaer days. They've never had real tenacity in that midfield there. And I think it is the big weakness in this United team at the moment, maybe alongside the wing backs. That's the big weakness. I think it needs to be addressed. I would like to see United go and sign 2 players for the midfield in 2026 at the least, given we have so much doubt about the current crop of midfielders that are there. We don't know if any of these midfielders, Bruno Fernandes, Kobe Mainoo, Mamadou Ugarte, or Casemiro, we don't know if any of them will be there at Manchester United for the start of next season. So there could be a big revamp. What I would like to see United do is, if players like this are on their agenda and they want to go and sign them in the longer term, I would like United to maybe go and test the waters in January, because I think there's a real opportunity for, if they are able to strengthen, especially that weak area of the pitch, which I do have concerns about, bringing in a replacement for Casemiro or somebody who can rotate with Casemiro, I think is really important. Younger legs in there. This guy is known as the Pitbull. He's described as the Pitbull. I asked my mate Paul, who's a Wolves fan, right, what he thought of him. Watches Wolves all the time. Bless you. United have been a chore, but Wolves, terrible. Paul said he's a bulldog, really good in the heart of the midfield, breaking up play. I can't fault him for that. He's excellent. Passing is usually short to the side or backwards, and he's not as creative. But I don't think United need that groundbreaking passer in this kind of position that they have. I think he may be aligned more as the 6 in this 6-8 pivot system. I think United definitely need another player in there as well. Maybe there's an argument that Kobe Mainoo can be more complemented by him, and like Mainoo can get up to speed this year, and maybe this can be a partnership moving forward. Or maybe United will go and sign another midfielder on top of that, and maybe Gomes could be, in the long term, a rotation option. United have really 4 strong central midfielders who are all capable of cutting it in the Premier League. We know that João Gomes can cut it in the Premier League, even if he is playing for their worst team at the moment. He likes, Amorim, a 1 ball winner and 1 ball progressor. And I think he very much ticks that ball winning box. I think he's in the 96th percentile for tackles per FB ref. So it gives you an idea of what kind of player he is. And when you name the Pitbull, when your mate is describing him as a bulldog, that's the kind of player I think, and that tenacity, that's the kind of player that I think United are missing. And maybe there are better quality players out there who will probably cost more money. I think what I've seen floating around is about 60 million quid for this guy, which, look, that's on the big side to me. He's nowhere near Mateus Cunha valuation for me. Maybe that's not going to happen in January, is it? I don't think. But maybe in the summer the price falls if Wolves are going down. Potentially, we'll see. But I really think that this is a very smart move if United were to go and pursue this. It's an opportunity that United could go and take up. Look, he's good for intensity, good for tackling, good for pressing, and in terms of his defensive coverage as well, he is the kind of player that I think United have been missing for a long, long time. I think what United lack in that midfield area is intensity, energy, and aggression. And I think he brings that to the team. Now, I'm not saying that he is the be-all and end-all, the one that's going to fix everything, but I think if United can go and sign players like this to add into their midfield options, to maybe bring on off the bench eventually, or maybe just fill the gap for a little while and then they can upgrade on him in the future, I think that's probably the right way to go. And I would like to see United really look at this and think, there may be an opportunity for us to get him here. We wanted him in 2021, and now there may be an opportunity to get him after he's had 3 years or so of Premier League experience as well. I think this one is a real proper good opportunity. He's got press resistant, good in possession, but even if he isn't that, he doesn't have that massive quality on the ball that I think sets midfielders apart. I think what United need are workhorses in that area. It's the big concern that I have a lot of the time. I see United getting run through in certain matches. That Forest game, I come back to it from a few weeks ago. There were times in that game where that midfield too just got run through. There were times last season where that midfield just got run through. It happened under Erik ten Hag as well. You need intensity in there, and I think João Gomes is a potentially good fit for that. Obviously, you need to make sure that the price is right, but just in general, I think what I like about this, all those players that I've listed, Baleba, we've got Wharton, Anderson, Stiller, I'm not entirely sure about. Conor Gallagher, I'll come to him in a second. João Gomes, all those kinds of players. There's even some younger players that United have been linked with. I think Orozco from Colombia, who's playing in the under-17s tournament, is looking like a real find, but that's generally much further down the line. And hopefully United can get him in, and eventually he can become something that he's cracked up to be. But United need solutions for now. And I think if you're looking at a 24-year-old player who has got 3 years of Premier League experience, who could be worth a punt on, given the team he's playing for could be going down, or may need to... Look, Wolves need goals in that team, I think. Maybe there's a deal to do in January, and Wolves can go and raise that money to go and get some kind of goal threat in their team. It's not working for them at the moment, and goals keep you up, really. I don't know if they're going to actually do that. United go to Wolves in a few weeks' time, I think, under Rob Edwards. This is just going to be fantastic, isn't it? Hopefully there's no new manager bounce there. But I really like that this link has come about. It could amount to nothing. Absolutely could. But what it does is fit the profile of midfielder that I think United need, and that Ineos seem to think United need as well. I would like to see them go after it in January. And I just don't think that this is going to be the most likely one to happen in January. But I do like that he's in the mix, that United are looking at this one. I think it makes a lot of sense, and we'll see what happens for the right price. But it's about, for me, having a good quality of depth options in that midfield area to be able to, like, if United get back into the Champions League next season or back into Europe next season in the Europa League, they're going to need players to rotate. Just because Abraham isn't making all that many changes at the moment to his midfield area because United have only got Premier League football, doesn't mean that United don't need rotation options moving forward. And maybe he will amount to that in the future in general, but I think he could become a real good, like, floor raiser, which is kind of what I think of João Gomes, even if he's not the flashiest kind of guy. But I've felt like United have needed a bit of a bulldog in that midfield area for a long time. And let's see what happens. I think I'd be happy with that one. I'd be happy with any of those players that I just listed, really. And one other player that I think I would be relatively happy to see come into United, and it might not be the most popular thing to say, is on a short-term basis. Let me just say this. On a short-term basis, Conor Gallagher. I've just mentioned that I would like to see United add to the midfield in January if they feel like there's an opportunity, and add a bit of tenacity in that midfield area. Conor Gallagher's out at Atletico Madrid at the moment. It's been linked with United a fair bit, potentially on loan. I like the idea of this potential loan deal actually happening. I think it makes a hell of a lot of sense. If he wants to come back to England, I'm not entirely sure of how it's gone for him. I haven't really paid attention all that much to Atletico Madrid over the last few weeks and months, but it is... I know what I've seen out of Conor Gallagher when he's played for Chelsea, when he plays for Crystal Palace, when he's played for England as well. I think he's not he's not a flashy player, but I talk about intensity. I talk about ability to cover ground, maybe a very different profile in terms of, if João Gomes is a 6, maybe Conor Gallagher is more of an 8 option in the midfield for United. Maybe that's where they differ in a sense. And I'm not saying for any second that the ideal pairing that United should have in their midfield moving forward into next season is a double pivot of João Gomes and Conor Gallagher. But what I am saying is, if there's an opportunity to go and get Conor Gallagher on loan potentially in January, I think it makes a lot of sense. Scope out the market, see what's possible. If there are transfer targets that you think that you can go and get in January that will make your team better immediately, that you want to sign in the summer anyway, if the money's there, I really think United could take advantage of that. Because that midfield for me has been my biggest area of concern. We all wanted United to sign a midfielder over the course of the summer. They didn't get one. And although Casemiro has had a renaissance and Bruno Fernandes's numbers are always fantastic, it just doesn't strike me at the moment as the perfect kind of double pivot in that Amorim midfield. It's very much like a plaster over something that needs to come and over the fix that needs to come eventually. And adding Gallagher into that mix on a short-term basis for me, I think is a really good idea. It's not the most popular thing to say. I just kind of have a feeling that that's got some legs in it. As I said to Adam on the last episode, or one of the last episodes of the pod, it makes sense to me. If it's doable, I'm not saying go spend 60 odd million quid on him at all. I'm not saying that. But if there's an opportunity to get him on loan to have a look at him and to add in that extra midfielder into these options, knowing that Kobbie Mainoo is not getting any minutes either. Look, I don't want Kobbie Mainoo to leave the club at all, but that loan talk still persists. And I think if he wants to go to the World Cup with England, the only real way he's going to get in is if he does play regular football once or twice a week at another club. I don't think he's going to get at United with Bruno Fernandes there. Him and Bruno Fernandes in midfield doesn't work. And look, if he goes out on loan, United will need to find a solution to replace him. And I think Gallagher could be a real good short-term fit there. And we'll see how he goes. But that's kind of my feelings on it. I know that's not the most popular thing to say because he's not the flashy name, but I think United need to get away from signing the players who's going to cost 80 million quid all the time because they have the biggest fuss around them. Go and make smart signings for your team, upgrade and raise the floor of the team. And eventually, yes, you will need those players who are going to be the level raisers and take the quality really up. But you need rotation options who can come in, do a job and be happy with that. And if Gallagher fits that mold for 6 months at least, I think it's a smart thing to potentially explore. I just got a feeling that might have some legs in it. And we'll see how it goes. But João Gomes and Conor Gallagher, they might not be the most flashiest names, the best options in the world, but I really think there's merit in exploring each of these deals. And I really think that United in January, if there's an opportunity to go and get somebody in to strengthen the squad, that area of the pitch needs upgrading for me in terms of depth and quality, or just legs, not even quality, just legs, just energy. I think those players give it in abundance, and we'll see what happens. There's still plenty of time left before the January transfer window begins, and we'll see what United do. But let me know what you think about João Gomes and Conor Gallagher as well. They're probably not the most popular options. I can imagine not everybody's going to love them, but I think what United need to do is find players who can do a real job for the system, and that's the most important thing to do. Build a team whose players really fit the system that you're trying to play. That's the first step. That's the first step for me. We'll see how it goes. But let me know in the comment section what you think of those. Get in touch with me on social media at @_Scott Saunders as well. You can find me on X, TikTok, and Instagram. You can also subscribe to this podcast or channel. The links are in the description. Please give a like, subscribe to the channel, 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify as well, and get in the comment section, like I said. And I'll see you soon, everyone, for another episode of the Promised Land podcast. Until next time, see you soon.